G'day my friends, Marty here from Marty's Garden on YouTube, and if you're new to the show, welcome. I'm an Australian agricultural horticulturist with over 2 decades of experience in organics, and I'm actually pushing the edges around with hydroponics at the moment as well, because I'm starting to see the benefits in many areas of small space gardening. But hang in with me guys, because what we want to do today is talk about companion planting and how you can do it at home starting pretty much today. It is just awesome, and you can expand out just like you do when you become a vegetable gardener and you first start. You start a little bit and then build out so you don't get too overwhelmed and have too much work and go, this is just a chore, I'm giving this up, I'm just going to buy my veggies from the shop. Which most of us have to buy most of it, but if you're growing at home, you can grow some beautiful herbs and some vegetables in season and things and enjoy the flavors and benefits and the nutrition and just the fun and the relaxation. There's so many things, right, to do with gardening. But when we are companion planting and building habitat, we can avoid a lot of nasty chemicals and sprays and things like that and really start to see the benefits long term. And, you know, there comes a stage, like with me, where you never ever have to bring out even an organic spray because it's just everything's doing its job for you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down about companion planting and tell you a little story as well. Because when I first started studying organics at college up in Lismore at Wallingbar TAFE, my teacher, who I really respected, he didn't believe in companion planting. And one of his things was, well, for the scents to be relieved from the plants, you've got to be touching it and brushing it all the time and things like that. And I was like, no, man, that just isn't right. There's more to it than this. And I was just looking into it more and more over time. Started off with just this little tiny book that was given to me many years ago, and just experimenting and pushing it to the edges. And what I learned was there's quite a few things to do with companion planting, more so than what we think. But there is one golden rule when you get started, because when you look online, like in Pinterest and different ebooks and things, they say, yeah, you know, tomato grows with basil, tomato, parsley, that's a great set of companions, which it is, right? And so most of that pretty much works, all that stuff. But it's hard to remember it all, and sometimes it's a bit difficult to go and look it all up and get too sort of over-obsessed with it. So the golden rule is, if you can cook it together, you can grow it together. If it doesn't cook and it sort of doesn't work together in flavors, generally you can't grow it together. So follow that rule, and you'll be pretty sweet. Just have a look like on your tomato sauces and things like that. You know, it'll say oregano, parsley, thyme, tomato, basil. All beautiful companions together. And even like garlic chives, right? You can do that too. So, there's the first golden rule to companion planting. Now, the second part is where we grow plants together. So plants not only protect each other, but they also help each other grow. Now, one of these things, I think it's called the Three Sisters or something like that. If I've got it wrong, let me know in the comments box down below. It's an old Indian way from, I think, American India, where they grew corn, then they put beans up the corn. They had something else down below at the bottom as well. And those three of them, so the corn actually was a base for the beans to grow up, and so they could grow two together, and then the beans down below would be feeding nitrogen back to the corn. So, you know, it's all working in harmony together. That's a form of companion planting. Now, I've done something at my place, and what I want to do is sort of expand out on that, but I'll show you something that's really, really cool. Now, this only happens for me in summer, right? But I've got a little papaya tree, and then down below underneath, I've got all this betel leaf growing, which is a beautiful, called the Piper betel. It's related to pepper. And you make these unreal wraps out of them stuff, and it likes the shade, right? So underneath the papaya tree, the little papaya tree, it's down there in the bottom section, and then climbing up it is a climbing spinach, a purple climbing spinach, and a little cherry tomato as well. And I'm sort of using that to sort of hang it on to it. So that is another form of like companion planting, because the papaya is providing the shade for the plant down below. The better leaf down below is actually stopping a lot of the soil erosion and a lot of the heat being taken away from the plants, and it helps all the different microbes and beneficial bacteria to actually populate down below, which helps the papaya grow, right? And then the papaya is actually like its own sort of stalk stand for the climbing spinach to be going up. So it's like it's a bit like that Three Sisters thing they call it in America, along those ways. So this is how you do it, like top story, mid story, low story. And if you can use the climbers going up, that'd be anywhere from mid to a high, right? So you're building this sort of like unstructured, no monoculture habitat where insects like to hang out, right? So you get the good insects and the bad insects. So you get the carnivorous insects hanging around, hunting on the herbivorous, right? And then when you get that happening, you don't have any pest problems. And if you get an explosion, generally it cleans up pretty quick, because what plants do, right? What plants do, and you probably, not many people would have heard this, but because they can't walk around or yell out and say, hey man, I'm getting eaten by locusts, I need to just get up and just move and walk. They can't do that. So they set out a pheromone, some plants. And this pheromone will go out in the atmosphere, and then the predators will go and get a sniff of it and go, oh wow, there's that food over there. I'll fly over there and I'll eat some of those. And so, you know, like could be some scale or some, you know, aphids or whatever. Could be letting a lady beetle know that there's too many aphids on me and I need to send out this pheromone. The lady beetle goes, oh, I can smell that. I'm going to fly over there. How do you think they find them otherwise? They'd be hunting around forever and just use up so much energy that they couldn't find their food source. So the plants let them know. And there's some really interesting studies on tobacco bushes where they've learnt this actually happening, right? So really, really cool. That is sort of a form of companion planting. And when we're avoiding monoculture, so too many plants like in one space for pests and diseases to breed up and then just sort of move across really quickly from plant to plant. And we create this sort of like structure of companion planting of different plants at different heights and different levels and different smells and different scents and things like that. What we're doing is we're actually making it more difficult for bad bugs and things to find food. And it just makes it harder for them to hunt down. And like when I grow my cherry tomatoes, they're down underneath. Now, they're harder to find and go in and pick, but the blackbirds around here can't find them. They can't see them. And they, you know, like the tomatoes and the crows and the currawongs and stuff, they love eating cherry tomatoes, but they haven't found my cherry tomatoes yet because they're down in underneath. And so this is what companion planting does. If we produce habitat, we avoid monoculture, we plant the right plants together, we work on structure and scale. And so if something needs to be shaded, we'll put it underneath a plant that will shade it. If something needs more sun, we'll give it more height. We'll put it in the right position and keep it out of the wind and things like that. So we're doing all this sort of stuff that we would have to do out in the garden anyway. But we're thinking about the placement of it all over time. And when you start building a garden with habitat, you get less pest problems. Like on my Airgarden outside, it has hardly any pests because it's got all this habitat around the outside of it, and so not one bad insect has landed on it and started eating it. Well, it might happen, but we'll keep an eye on that for the time being. So anyway, if you've got any experiences with companion planting, something that you would like to share, maybe you have a question, something you would like to ask me, or you've got like your own set of plants that you put together that you find success with, I'd love to hear from you down below in the comments box. Please share with me. I know there's other people going in there and reading it as well, and they will enjoy the comment because they get to learn from all of us. All right, you have a great day, a happy gardening, and we'll see you at the next video /vlog real soon. Bye for now.